Hi, I'm Annie Botticelli, and this is the Storyteller Forecast for Sagittarius for March 2016. Check out my website, anniehelpsyou.com, or click on the link below this video to see my astrology blog, my health blog, all my other blogs, and while you're there, sign up for my free email newsletter, which makes you part of my community, and you get lots of perks that goes along with that. So what's happening in this month, March Madness? We have lots of major things to talk about, and things that we're not going to talk about include almost daily more minor aspects, and some of them even more major. This is a very astrologically busy month. We've got cycles coming to an end, more cycles continuing forward. We've got a Mars retrograde that starts in April, but the shadow period starts earlier. Just a lot to talk about, very, very busy. So let's just take it piece by piece. Eclipses are the biggest deal that are happening this month. In the spring and in the fall, we have these eclipse cycles, and they can bring major news, major changes in direction. Solar eclipses bring new opportunities, new openings. And then lunar eclipses end, close, bring to completion, to fruition. The energetic law that talks about energy not being created nor destroyed, but only recreating or changing forms is shown very well at the eclipse time, because you'll see something very much close or come to an end, and then something equal to the energy that closed or ended will open up and put you in a new direction, and that energy will be equal. So this is a very powerful time of endings and beginnings, and depending on where the eclipses are hitting in your personal chart, that's the degree to which likely you'll experience this as major news, or possibly you could be in a support role assisting other people. Or if you're emotional by nature, sometimes you get affected by these transits, even if they're not hitting in your chart exactly. So the solar eclipse happens on March 8th, and this happens at 18 degrees of Pisces. For you early degree Sag placements, so basically November born Sages, or people that have Sag rising like from 0 to 9 degrees or so, you are likely going to experience this new energy, openings, new beginnings in the house of home and family. So this could be a new addition to your home. This could be like actually an addition in the form of a person or a birth or a roommate or someone moving in or a partner moving into your home. Or this could be like an actual addition to your physical house. This could have to do with real estate. If your business is in real estate or design or something house related, then you might have booms to your business because it's related to anything house, not just your own physical home. This also has to do with childhood, things involving childhood and delving deep into childhood issues or ancestry, or going back to a place that feels like home. It's the energy of home and the energy of family in the many different ways that that can manifest. So more likely the early degree placements will experience that newness in that field of experience. The middle to later degree placements, which is basically everyone else, from 10 degrees through 29 degrees of rising and all of the December Sag birthdays, you all will likely have this energy more open up in your third house. Your third house is the house of communication and transportation. It's a big arena within your life. So communicating, this can have to do with devices. This can have to do with actually how you interact with people, long-standing patterns of communication. This can have to do with writing. This is one of the houses of writing or speaking. So if your work or desired work lies within editing, writing, blogging, books, publishing, speaking, anything like that, this can be a very active time. And really all Sages, if you have an inclination or are working on something in that arena, March can be very busy for you, even if the eclipse isn't happening there, because the personal planets are moving through there. So for all Sages, we've got a busy third house and we have a busy fourth house. So the same could be said for the people who are not early degree Sages. Everyone else, you might have a lot of activity in your home and family sector, even if it's not eclipse based, because the personal planets are moving through that sector and are going to be, depending on your placement, it'll be staggered past March. So This could have something to do with communication as far as writing, blogging, speaking, things like that. Also, transportation and mobility. So let's say you're a Sag that has not been as mobile as you'd like to be, either because of a physical injury or some kind of other physical problem, or a transportation, like vehicle related thing, or because you've been so busy you haven't been able to be mobile. Something that's been interfering with your mobility can clear, either with the personal planets moving through this house for any of you, or for you middle to later degree placements, you could have a big opening in this space. Some of you might get a new car. And actually, if you're going to get a new car, you don't want to do it past, like, try to get it done within March. Definitely don't do it from April 17th through June 29th, but really the closer you get to April 17th, which I would say would include all of April, Mars rules metal and machinery, and a car is both metal and machinery. So when Mars goes retrograde on April 17th, it's going to be the worst time to buy a car. So if you're going to buy a car and this mobility involves anything with metal, new machinery that you have to purchase, do it in February or March. You're going to start to feel the slowdowns and the implications of Mars going retrograde more as we get closer to the end of March. You'll feel it with every day that approaches April 17th. But I'd say all of February and the first half of March are the most clear to do things like that. And the universe might just bring it to you. Sometimes eclipses, you're brought information or brought a new direction, and it's nothing that you made a choice about or nothing that you actively did something. It just kind of comes to you. Someone gives you a computer, someone gives you a car, you win a car, something like that. If you're a person who has been having trouble with your physical mobility, maybe you already walk with some sort of, wheelchair or crutches or something like that. You might get new gear to help you be more mobile. Or if you had a physical problem, it might start to be healed now, where you might start walking and or running or doing whatever you did before. So it's very exciting for mobility, and it's especially exciting for Sages. I'm a Sag too. I have 9 placements in Sagittarius, so you know anything I talk about with Sages, I know this energy really well. So we like to be mobile and we like to be free moving on our own volition. If we want to go over there, we want to go over there. If we want to do something, we want to have freedom to roam and wander at will. And so if something has been impeding that, there's a very good chance you'll have a breakthrough. And also, even if you haven't had an impediment, you might just have it be enhanced, which is very exciting news. And the same thing with the communication aspect. Sag energy in general is highly communicative. We use a lot of words, unless you have something in your chart that goes against this. Saggies tend to be very wordy. They tend to be very prolific in their expression. So if what you're trying to do has to do with blogging, speaking, communicating, podcasts, anything, videos, getting information out to the world, this is going to be very beneficial for you. There are 2 eclipse cycles at play. We're ending the Aries-Libra eclipse. So on March 23rd, there's the lunar eclipse that closes out energy. And that ends a cycle that has been going on since the end of 2013. So Aries and Libra, which is the eclipse cycle that has been running from Aries, or the end of 2013 through this spring of 2016, has to do with me versus we. And if you've noticed, look at your relationship situation over that time, there's probably been a lot of changes. Brisk entrances of people in your life, key relationship, brisk exits, and massive transformation with the relationships that are still intact. So this is the end of a story that has been ongoing for years. For some of you, that might mean the actual ending of a relationship. Some of you might mean the ending of a part of the relationship that's no longer serving, so that you can move forward with the person that you're with, either through business or friendship or romantic relationship. You can move forward with them in a different way, major improvements to your relationship. So that's part of the energy that's at play as far as the lunar eclipse energy. There's also, for early placements, there's a strong chance that there's going to be an ending in something related to your work, your business, your career, your life purpose. You might lose a job, you might leave a job, something job related. But if you're a Sag that has your work in the field of things Saggy, like speaking, teaching, learning, education of any kind in an institution or not in an institution, international connections, different countries, different cultures, different languages, religion, philosophy, writing, publishing, things like that. If your work is there, You might also find that there's an ending or a closing out in this cycle for something that you've been doing. So maybe you've been doing your work in a certain way or working on something. This might end that cycle and start a new one. The other eclipse cycle that's at play is this Pisces Virgo cycle. And this started in early 2015 and will run into 2017. And this has to do with making order from chaos. This is a global experience of making order from chaos, because the Pisces energy is like abstract kind of things, and the Virgo energy is form, very solid form. So in places where there's too much form or it's too regimented, that could get busted up and more flow instituted. In the places where there's too abstractness and too many big ideas that are not formed or coming to fruition, you could get more detailed in bringing those actually to fruition. Of course, Saturn in our sign is assisting with that as well. It's a long-term story that runs into 2017 too, about this bringing these big ideas into form. You know, the general theme is Sagittarius have big ideas, and some of those ideas, if you have within yourself the capacity to make those solid, like if you've got some importantly placed Capricorn or something else earthy that helps you to be grounded within your Sagginess, then you will have been bringing these things forward. If you have a little trouble with that, this is the time where either you bring in key people to facilitate things for you, or you find it within yourself to build that bridge with manifestation through groundedness. The counterforce of Sag in a lot of ways is groundedness. And it does become necessary in order to make your big ideas manifest. So there's a big story of that going on. So the lunar eclipse is either going to happen in the 10th house or the 9th house. But like I said, if your work is 9th house related, Sag related houses, then you'll see some kind of ending to how you do business or a project, or maybe you'll finish a book, or maybe, you know, there's some ending that has to do with that. And then the openings are going to come up either in this home and family or in this transportation communication. Also could be relatives other than, not your brothers, or your brothers and sisters, cousins, stepsisters and brothers, aunts and uncles. The 3rd house has to do with those relatives. So you might find that there's something notable having to do with them as well. Let's see, what else is that? Mars retrograde. So Mars is going to go retrograde April 17th through June 29th. Mars rules initiation and forward movement. So if you're launching a project, if you're starting a blog, if you're doing something that you're a website, something that you're pushing forth into the world, really try to have that done out February, no later than around the 16th of March. There's a beautiful aspect on the 16th, an outer planet trine, that is really amazing, and it involves Jupiter and Pluto. So Jupiter's our ruling planet, and it is retrograde, but it will happen again in June when Jupiter goes direct and makes that trine again. So that's a really big help for anything that we're doing. But when Mars goes retrograde, Mars rules metal. Mars rules, like I said before, it rules metal, so cars, anything machinery based, scissors even, like finding a new hairdresser or something related to metal. If you're a farrier, something like that. That's all related to Mars. But for everyone else, not in those, looking in those areas, it has to do with starting something new or including a romantic relationship. So if you meet someone during the time when Mars retrograde is very active or coming very soon, so that's like April, May, June, definitely. And then in those border times, it could start to show up before and after, like March and July. There's a very good chance that whatever's initiated during the time of Mars retrograde, it will fizzle. And so you don't want to make any long-term decisions based on things that are happening in that time, because there's a good chance that when the direction of Mars changes, that it will fizzle and it will just be done. So you don't want to, get married or get engaged or move in with someone if you can help it, because that is ruled by, it's the romantic. Mars rules that element of romance. If you're moving in like with a roommate where there's not a romantic element, then that could be different, But in general, things will slow down. Most Saggies I know, including myself, are on full throttle all the time. We're just like busy and everything's all over the place. So I feel very excited when Mars goes retrograde because it gives me a break. And you might find the same thing. Now, if you're planning for this break, fantastic. So if you bust out all the new things and things you're trying to launch in February and March, and the slowdown's going to come, then you can prepare for it and you can just relax, or you can just work on the things you've already launched or improve the things you've already launched. We only have 3 windows in this whole year that are good for launching things. February and part of March, then not again till like July into August, and then from the end of October into the beginning of December. All the other dates, all the other months have Mercury retrograde or Mars retrograde or both, the influence of both at the same time. So those aren't the times to launch new things. You know, if you're going to get off your deserted island that you got stuck on, that you built a boat trying to get off, you wouldn't let your boat out to sea and start paddling when the tide is coming in. That would be silliness. You would wait till the tide was going out. Then you could get pushed out to sea and your efforts would be supported. That's why we follow astrology and base decisions on astrological transits, because if you line them up when the transits are more supportive, then you'll have the full support of the universe behind your venture. And that's what we want. We're not launching things to have them fizzle, right? Unless you know that something's going to be a one-hit wonder, you're going to do it once and it doesn't matter what happens after it. If that's the case, then it doesn't really matter. But most things that people are working on are things that they want to have some longevity. And launching things with Mars retrograde energy is not going to have the longevity that you're hoping for. So all of that is going on, and then we're affected by that in March. The eclipse energies may have started to bring news as early as the end of January, sometimes up to 6 weeks before we might hear news that is eclipse related. So there's going to be a lot of Sages that are moving for new job opportunities or leaving work and focusing more on home things, or leaving working for someone and doing a home-based work. Lots of energy around writing, speaking, teaching, publishing. Basically the gathering of and the dissemination of information. These eclipses for most Sages are very information based. So how you gather and share information is very much affected by this eclipse cycle. So you'll be seeing more of this throughout the rest of the year and into 2017 with how you gather and share information. So I can't see what's going on in your individual chart. If you'd like to have personal coaching astrology with me, you can go to my website, anniehelpsyou.com. And while you're there, you can click on coaching for that. And while you're there, check out my blog. I have an astrology blog. I have a blog about sustainable living. I have a health blog. I have an inspirational blog. So you can check out all of those things and see if there's anything you resonate with there. Definitely sign up for my free email newsletter. You will get my monthly write-up that I do the month before that gives sometimes even more specific and detailed information than what I talk about in the horoscopes. They work together to cover the month ahead very well. And that's something that I give to my VIP crew who's on my email group list. And definitely check out my 28-day virtual coaching program called Shine, which is available on a sliding scale. You can go to anniehelpsyou.com and click on programs and click on Shine. And that program is intended to help you clear through the things that are interfering with you taking your place in the world where it's supposed to be. So many Sages have these big ideas and feel this major mission that they have. And if you have impediments to that, then maybe this is the time to do something about it, and the Shine program can help you. So check that out. Have a wonderful month, and I'll see you next month. Bye.